psychopaths and drug addicts. Most culture is from psychopaths and drug addicts. Music, there's a zillion stories from rock and roll about drugs, right? I read Keith Richards' autobiography. This is how drugged out they were. So the Stones had so many drug charges that in order to tour in America, they had to hire a doctor to travel with them and test them for drugs every day. And the doctor lasted 6 weeks before, you guessed it, he got hooked on cocaine. Whoops. The vampire hunter got bit. Rock's insane like that, psychopaths and drug addicts. Hip hop. Skirt. Skirt. You ever know a not fucked up person make either one of those noises? You ever call your mom and be like, "Happy Sunday, Mom"? She's like, skirt. Snoop Dogg, one of the greatest entertainers of all time, a hip-hop legend, and he's so fucked up that at a certain point he just started talking in fizzle jizzle language. We all accepted it. We're like, should we get him to the hospital? We're like, no, let's go to the studio, see what he can do. Snoop may have no idea what's happening. Like, fizzle jizzle whizzle bizzle, bow wow wow, fizzle jizzle bizzle whizzle. Skechers, I'd love to endorse Skechers. Bow wow wow, fizzle. Martha Stewart, I should do several shows with her. Meanwhile, he thinks it's Ellen. He's gone. Kendrick Lamar, true genius, right? Sing along if you know the words. Where he says, if Pyrus and Crips all got along, they probably gonna be down by the end of the song. Feels like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear yacht, 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 yacht. Yacht, 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 yacht. You can't get to yacht, 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 yacht sober. You cannot get there, guys. You could be in a marina, walk past 4 yachts, and you're not gonna think, yacht, 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 yacht. And he has a well-deserved Pulitzer Prize. Skirt. Skirt. I know what you may be thinking. Well, Neil, psychopaths and drug addicts, are all comedians psychopaths and drug addicts? So far, yep. Let's go down the list. George Carlin, drug addict. Richard Pryor, drug addict. Bill Cosby, choose your own adventure. Lenny Bruce, drug addict. Mitch Hedberg, drug addict. John Belushi, drug addict. John Mulaney told me to remind you he's a drug addict. Those are just the drug addicts that you know about. Then there's the alcoholics we don't have time for, so let's do mental illness. Mark Twain, bipolar. Taylor Tomlinson, bipolar 2. I'm depressed. Sarah's depressed. Rodney Dangerfield was depressed. Joan Rivers was depressed. Howie Mandel has the worst case of OCD I've ever heard of. Chris Rock's got nonverbal learning disability. Jim Jeffries. I don't know what Bill Burr's issue is, but he's yelled at me every time I've seen him for 20 years straight. It's because people that are good at something are optimized for that thing and pretty much nothing else, right? You ever play a video game where you make the character and you have like 100 points and you gotta distribute it between like dexterity and marksmanship and speed? That's what God does. And sometimes he fucks up. Like when God was making Woody Allen, they were like, God, how many points should we give him for comedy and filmmaking? And God's like, fuck it, give him 100. And they were like, but that's not gonna leave any points for not fucking his family. And God was like, how bad can it be? And then 70 years later, an angel was like, did you see that documentary? And I was like, yeah, like I'm good at this, and I'm not good at relationships. And I just realized why. Like recently. I'm not that good at relationships because I'm preoccupied with this, right? I'll be in a relationship with a woman and we'll be having like normal relationship conversations and she's being like, hey, I think this weekend we should go see my mom. And I'm like, religion should make attack ads on each other. She's like, and then after that we can go antiquing. I'm like, the sun is like the cops for white people. And she's like, Neil, I feel like you're not listening to me. I'm like, of course I'm listening to you. Yacht, 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 yacht. Also, have you been in a relationship? They're very difficult. Who's in their 20s by round of applause? All right, so let me explain to you how your dating life's gonna go. All right, so you're in your 20s and you're gonna start dating seriously and you're gonna realize like, oh, I have emotional problems. And then in your 30s, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna solve my emotional problems. And then in your 40s, you're gonna be like, it's a shame I never did solve those emotional problems. Don't you wish we had more in common, men and women? I like those couples that have one thing in common and they're just seeing how far they can take it. You know what I mean? Like going into Comic-Con dressed as his and her orcs. I like the weightlifting couple walking around like spray-tanned apes everywhere they go. Like, come on, babe, let's go home and talk about chicken breasts and broccoli again. I want us to have more in common. I really do. Sometimes I'll be on dating apps and I'll cover up women's photos just to see what their personality's like. One girl's bio recently was like, I love Soul Cycle and red wine and sunsets and rockin' playlists. And I thought, if this was a guy, I would run him over with my car. And then I see it's a beautiful woman. I'm like, I think she may be the one. Yeah, it's just hard. Relationships are just hard. And again, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm too preoccupied with this and it makes me kind of petty. Let's see. So I was in love with a woman and we were together for a while and we were in love. It was amazing, right? She had a trip planned to Singapore. And then Putin invades Ukraine. And my girl calls me and she's like, I'm really afraid that this is gonna affect my trip to Singapore. And I was like, it's not gonna. She was like, no, everyone in Malibu is saying it's going to affect it. I was like, babe, I think living near the beach like slows down your brain or something. Unless your flight is connecting through Kiev, like I think you're straight. She was like, you know what? I have to get off the phone with you now. I go, why? And she goes, because you're not supporting my fear. It's like, what? I've never even heard of that. And she's like, I need you to support my fear. So I was like, okay, from here on out, I'll try to support your fear. So anyway, about 8 days later, we're in bed and there's a noise downstairs. And my girl looks at me and goes, I'm scared. And I looked at her and I said, you should be. Because he sounds big and I bet he doesn't want to have sex with me at all. Do you feel the support? There's so much support.